Hey, welcome everyone to a special Wednesday Live. And this is the first Wednesday Live that we've ever done. And I'm kind of excited about this. This is kind of how Tuesday Live started. It was also a Monday Live started. Then we started doing every Monday, every Tuesday. Who knows what this is going to turn into? But just listen to this. Let me find this for you here. Think of all the news going on right now. You ready for this? And you already know who my special guest is. Monkey's going to be here in just a minute. But listen, Trump suggests FBI may have planted evidence during the Mar-a-Lago raid. Just all these different things going on. Big developments in China as China is preparing the world for the coming mark of the beast. I think there's different organizations are too. China just made a move that could literally provoke a war with the United States. That's speaking of this blockade with Taiwan. Also developing, China sounds alarm as dozens fall ill with newly identified Langia, if I said that correct, virus, thought to have jumped from animals to humans. You know what? Man, I don't know about all this stuff. Experts are now warning that monkeypox will likely start popping up in pools, sports, and schools. An appeals court has just granted the House permission to obtain Trump's taxes from the IRS. And then, of course, we know that the raid that President Trump, it was a judge who signed off on that. It's connected with Jeffrey Epstein. So many different things that are going on right now. Our guest today, as you know, is fantastic. Monkey. Going to bring him on in just a second. But a reminder, this weekend, Friday and Saturday, we have the Prophecy Conference that's coming in Huntington Beach. You can still register for live stream. Monkey will be there, Brandon, Billy, James, Don and Don will be there, Andy Woods will be there, Joe Pettick. It's going to be a really outstanding conference. And Monkey is going to be, well, he's in Texas right now, and he's joining us right now. Where's Monkey? There he is. There you are. Hey, good to see you. How's it going?
Yeah. You as well, man. It's always a pleasure, dude. I wish we could do this more often. We really need to, actually. I enjoy being on your show, and it's just I'm blessed by it. So
I wish I could. I have a lot of different guests on, as you know, and I'm always worried I'm going to overuse, and somebody can say I don't want to be on your program anymore. But people do enjoy being here. I love it. For me, it's great. So I don't know. I might just add a Wednesday. I usually do a Wednesday update by myself, and maybe I'll just make a Friday or a Thursday and Friday update instead or something,
sure.
And do Wednesday Live.
Yeah. I have no problem with it. You just let me know. I'll support you any way I can. I actually enjoy, for those that don't know the history with you and when I got saved in 2014, I started following you and Cadiz and Don Perkins and Don Stewart and all those guys. And I have to pinch myself, man. I'm to just be here with you and be able to, interact with you. And this is awesome. I absolutely love it, man.
Oh, that's totally cool for me. Well, people don't know this also. And I think I told you this. So you emailed me, I don't know, a couple of years ago or something, say, hey, or your manager did, one of you. And I read it and I thought it's interesting. And I think I told you this, and I'm going to tell everybody else in the world this right now, and then I forgot about it. For like 6 months, I forgot about the email, and then all of a sudden this name Monkey popped in my head again. Oh, Monkey, hey, I got an email from Monkey, and then that was when I finally responded. I should have responded years ago.
Yeah, it's all good, man. It's all good. I'm looking forward to this conference. This is going to be fantastic, and I really hope we get I know it's sold out almost instantly, so... but I know there's going to be hopefully a lot of people watching it online. I'm telling you, we're going to cover things that a lot of people probably aren't expecting, for sure.
Indeed, I'm excited about it, and it's not going to. It's not going to be censored. It's not going to be on YouTube. The only way it's going to end up on YouTube is if somebody pirates it 6 months down the road or something like that, which it will not be us, but it's not going to be on YouTube, and it's uncensored. So I don't know what people would even be able to get away with if they put it on YouTube, because YouTube was shut down the pirated channels too.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I would appreciate.
Yeah, you and me both. I got to tell you, my stuff, I find it in all over the place, man. There's people in Bangladesh, putting my stuff out there. It's crazy.
It's wild. And you can't do anything to stop them. Facebook,
No,
Instagram, YouTube, it's like they just take it and.
Yeah. It's almost like a underground network. It's pretty wild to do it. And a lot of these giant social media outlets, they don't really enforce. Now YouTube does copyright stuff. YouTube will bust your chops in a heartbeat on a copyright, but everybody else just kind of lets it ride. They don't really care.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to see. Yeah. Hey, so there are so many things to talk about. Obviously, we'll talk right now what we can. The conference, you're just going to really be able to blow the doors off of things. But let's talk about Trump. Can we start there? I'm sure the last 48 hours you've had a lot to say about it. I've done a couple of videos with it, but
I'm actually in the process right now of writing my next blog, which is about the Gestapo. And because, as you know, I wrote a blog about Dachau and the camps and what we're seeing in the U.S. and the trend. History, if you forget your history or your past, you will repeat it, right? And that's what we're seeing happen. And so I watched the thug tactics that are being taken place by our DOJ and our FBI, and I'm staggered. I mean, this is almost like a criminal mob, the way that they're going after people, and there's nobody stopping them. Like, they're unstoppable, just like the Gestapo was. The Gestapo was like put on a whole other level, during their Hitler's regime and before Hitler, actually. Hitler kind of repurposed them. And that's when they started going door to door and basically doing what they do, what the FBI is doing today, which is it's scary to think that, they can do that. And what's really, I think the saddest part is you've got someone that has been, they've already found all the evidence. And I'm talking about Hillary, in terms of what they did, spying on the campaign, all the Steele dossiers, all that stuff. And on top of that, you got criminal activity from the Clinton Foundation and a bunch of places, and they're not touching them. These people are like Teflon, and you take a guy like Trump, who's just trying to do what's best for our country because of his love for our country, and he is getting just railroaded. And if this doesn't stick, it'll be something else. They'll just keep going on and on. If he wins in 2024, which they know if he runs, he's going to win. It'll be a landslide. And so they've got to do everything they can to prevent him from getting into office. And that is, they'll just shy of the nuclear option, I probably would imagine is even on the table. It's crazy.
I agree. So I look at this and think, okay, let's see, Simone Gold's in jail. We start thinking of political prisoners. You have that, she was out speaking against the medical procedure. She's in jail. Steve Bannon, did he start his jail time yet?
I don't know. Maybe. He's going to jail.
I mean, we're watching these things, not to mention the group of people from the first month of the year in 2021. We're not allowed to talk about that group of people who are basically people that nobody's ever even heard of before. People in jail that don't even have a YouTube channel.
No. And that stuff, what's a trip is they were caught because of these, bringing these in with them, tracked them all the way in and out. They were also, if you notice, some of them were being sprayed with this luminol stuff that basically you can't see it, but it's on you, but the cameras can see it. Anything with the black lights on it would basically illuminate you. So the guys that were in that tunnel up underneath that particular building that we're talking about that we can't say.
Yeah.
You saw them with these like these big cans that were like a fire retardant. They were pumping them and then they just spray it onto the crowd, and they're basically lighting them up with that luminol stuff. And then, as they track them all the way through the city because they glow like nobody's business. So they knew who was really right there. But I think you had a bunch of bad actors that got in there and stirred it up, and unfortunately Patriots got caught up in it, and they're just making examples out of all of them. So,
I think of the crucifixion of Jesus. You had a bunch of bad actors on the day where the crowd yelled out, "Crucify him, crucify him." What if they stirred up the crowd? They mixed in the crowd, and they said, "We want Barabbas." So you look at what's going on, but they're out to. This is it's a globalist thing. It's a deep state thing. People can say you're a conspiracy theorist or whatever, or I'm a conspiracy theorist or whatever. Listen, here's the reality of it. I mean, you look at the Bible and you start connecting the dots. You're going, wait a minute, things are going exactly the way that we were told they're going to go, and you can see them But you're you know, and what's happening, I mean, it seems so obvious to me that if you can't, you have to willfully choose to not tell what the world is going on right now. And when it comes to the whole globalist thing, so we can think of Trump and so many other things. Listen, they cannot have him in power. There's absolutely no way. Could you imagine, and I want to get off the Trump thing in just a minute because I got a lot of other important things to ask you about. But could you imagine if Trump were to come back and be president, you talk about going after all these evil players, the Clintons, the Biden crime family, you know, you just start going right on down this list, CNN, the traitors at Fox News now, because, you know, they've got their traitors too.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah, they're embedded everywhere. I mean, you can go look at the governor of your state, and he's a graduate from the World Economic Forum, right?
That guy's something else. And just think, if he becomes president, which there is that rumor now.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that? You think California's bad? The whole country's going to be like California.
Yeah, for sure. I think we are really on the brink of some type of civil unrest. I think people are just like, they're done. People are fed up and they're like, we're not taking anymore.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, that's going to take me to a couple of things to ask you. So, I think it was Bernie Kerik or might have been another, one of the guys, gosh, I can't remember who it was, said that the next way to get rid of Trump, if they're going to get rid of him, is they're going to have to assassinate him because nothing is working against him. And you look at what's happened right now. This is really, it's just galvanized all the people who said we are fed up with what we are watching. And so far, here's the concern I have, is that it would turn into a civil war, but would that give the cause that these globalists in the Biden administration want to be able to go into martial law, a lockdown, hold off all elections and everything else, which, you know, I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah, no, it is for sure. I think if they do anything to Trump, well, whether it's an arrest, whether it's assassination, whatever it may be, anything they do is going to probably trigger something. Because, I mean, you saw Mar-a-Lago. I heard they had over 10,000 people protesting outside of that residence that evening. That's 10,000 people, man. You can imagine what would happen around the country. You know, you're not talking inner cities, because the blues are, you know, when I say the blues, you know, I mean the blues and the reds, right? But the blues are all inner city stuff. That'd be, you know, Dallas, LA, San Francisco, New York, that kind of stuff. But the reds are outside of that. And those are the towns I think that would be probably pretty hot very quickly if something happens to them. So,
well, I would even say that the area I live in California is quite conservative. It's very red.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, I would say it's a much safer place to be than Los Angeles, than these big cities.
Yeah.
I just see these big cities just turning into a hellhole. They almost already are.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, the homeless population and everything that's going on in all these big cities, and they've been taken over by a bunch of, you know, flaming Democrats. I mean, Dallas is definitely not a pro-Trump town. I mean, you get into Dallas and it is the politics, the corruption. It's just like every other major city around the U.S. It's bad. Yeah,
that's messed up. Okay, I'm going to turn us over to China, because there's a lot of different things going on with China. And your thoughts on this. China is planning an invasion, speaking of Taiwan, not just holding drills, says Taiwan's foreign minister. I mean, we talked about China before and Taiwan. Where do you see this thing going? Because Pelosi flies over there. Obviously, we didn't have a war. You know? Any thoughts?
So I've been one of the opinion that when we started to watch before Russia invaded Ukraine, I knew for sure China wasn't going to do anything before the Olympics. We knew that they were going to be, you know, just busy with that, and it would be bad PR for them to do something at that time. But I thought, you know, what they'll do is they'll wait until the U.S. engages with Russia over Ukraine, the U.S. and NATO, and that's probably when they'll make their move. However, I will tell you that the the fact that Blinken came out and started saying that they don't recognize Taiwan's independence, that to me is basically code for, hey, go do your thing, China, because we're not going to stop you. Now that information has been kind of passed, I would not be the least surprised to see them just go in hot. We'll all wake up one evening to, the news that China's invaded Taiwan, and it'll be done. Nothing we're going to do.
Yeah. So with America sending the message, we're not going to do anything. Yeah. We're not going to get in your way. We're not going to roll up with Japan or anybody else and try to stop this thing.
Yeah. All right. I mean, look how divided we were for Pelosi to go over there, right? I mean, there was people like, oh, she shouldn't go. There were people saying she should. The president said she shouldn't go, and she just defied it, everybody, and was like, I'm going. And she kind of, poked her toe in the water across the whole region. She went to Hawaii, then she went to Guam, then she went into, I think, Singapore or whatever, but she just kind of dabbled around that whole region and before she went into Taiwan. And of course, she did have to island hop because she's in a 737. That thing doesn't have some, insane range on it. They would have to stop for fuel at those locations just to get across the drink. But still, very defiant. But it sent, it just goes to show you how divided our country is. I don't think anybody on our side was for her or for flashbang, but still, nonetheless, even within the current banana republic that we have, these guys were still fighting with each other in their own ranks.
So you mentioned banana republic. We have descended into that.
Oh man, no doubt about it. This is a one giant circus. By definition, a banana republic is a country that has one export that they're reliant on. We've got multiple, but I think you'd have to redefine the true definition of banana republic. But I certainly think we are descending into that because it ties into economics and everything else. And I mean, our number one export is oil, petroleum. So, you'd think if you go look at UAE and Qatar and everybody else who has, these Saudi princes that are loaded because of oil, you turn around and that's their big export, right? You turn around and look at the U.S. Where's that money going? Like somebody's got to have it for sure. It's a lot of money and we're number one exporter in the world. So it's done that up.
Yeah. Hey, you did a video not too long ago called Black Swan. Black Swan event. So can you explain what is a Black Swan event?
So I was expecting a Pelosi to roll in there, and this was going to be almost like one giant false flag event where it's a setup. They're going to basically let her go in, and that's going to be the trigger, and nobody will ever even question it. So that's kind of what I was expecting, was that when she got over there, they'd either shoot her down or something would happen, but it would put us into that war footing very rapidly, which it'd be a black swan event. It's like the perfect storm for a setup of a false flag event of tremendous magnitude.
The setup for the false flag. I'm looking at things in the supply chain. I got to get to a couple. I still got to get this. I want to ask you about this digital ID stuff that's going on. There's an executive order that Biden signed sometime back, but I want to get to that. And by the way, here it is, and there's no way that Biden actually had anything to do with writing an executive order. He didn't have the capacity to write the things that are included in it. But I want to go there, but in fact, I'm just going to go there. That's what I'm going to do. I'll come back to some possible false flags in a minute. But there's this article that says digital ID tyranny is being rolled out across the world. Another one, social credit. This time next year, you'll be living in China. We see this going on. And then we hear about digital currency. And biblically, we know it's coming. I find this interesting. In Biden's executive order, which was from back in March, I believe, what he did is he instructed the federal government and Federal Reserve to lay the groundwork for potential new U.S. currency and digital dollar. And I look at the groundwork, I look at 87,000 new IRS agents. I mean, who are they coming after? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an army. That's absolutely crazy. Again, that takes you right back to Nazi Germany, man. The way that they're the structure that they're putting into place. You know, you got the Gestapo element, you got the immigration camp element, you've got the IRS that's basically going to come in and be like the currency police. Yeah, I'm telling you, we are headed right back to Nazi Germany, 1938, 1945. It's insane.
So we've talked a little bit about these camps before.
Yeah.
I haven't got any detail. They're real, aren't they?
They're very
Here
real.
in America.
Yeah. In fact, there are, last count, I think I hit about 38 camps that had been stood up across the U.S. And then I quit tracking because I was getting pounded with other stuff. But yeah, they were all over the U.S. and they're military installations, which means normal civilians, you can't get in and out of there. And if you get caught taking pictures of it, they'll come after you. So yeah, it's there's a reason why they're on military installations for sure, because they want you keep you out and eyes off.
Yeah, and the reason they build these is they got to have a plan to use them. I mean, we can go back and look at Australia from a year ago. Remember the camps that were on the news? We did a video on that. They're still building these things, and they exist.
Yes.
There is a future purpose for them.
Yeah, 100%. They are really. Here's the scary thing is, and I guess the proof is in the pudding, is the fact that they're not taking these down. So they use them for, you'll see them go in and stand them up for immigrants coming in, and Afghanistan was one of the big ones where they started standing up these giant tent cities on military bases. El Paso up in Fort Biggs has got a massive tent city. And I get people that are actually, when they take off out of El Paso, they're taking pictures out the window of the plane of the tent cities. So I've got confirmation that they're there. But they're not taking them down. They're just building them and then they leave them. And that's because they have a future plan for them. And I'm telling you, it's going to be filled up with guys like you and me.
It is. I'm going to read this to you in a second too. Are you able to share here on YouTube what you're going to be talking about at the conference?
Yeah, no, I'd love to.
You just
Absolutely.
can't share the details.
Yeah, I'm actually talking about DARPA and mass surveillance and how that is part of that digital footprint that's going to lead to the beast system. So, yeah, but I'm transitioning it into the aircraft and the surveillance and all the other stuff that they're doing to us on a daily basis that most American citizens don't even realize that they're being watched.
Oh, man, I'm excited. You know, I've been talking with Billy, Brandon, you this week. I am really looking forward to just sitting there and watching. It's going to be great.
It's going to be cool.
It's going to be.
This is the first and only conference that I've accepted, and two that I'm actually going to go to and speak in. I'm really excited about it. Like I said, it's an honor. I'm pretty stoked on it. So this is really cool. I don't know that I would ever do another one. This is just kind of a one-off deal with you. I mean, I would do it with you again, but I mean, in terms of going and speaking at other conferences, I don't have any desire to do that stuff. Yeah. It's too risky.
Yeah. This is your first time in California, isn't it?
No, I used to spend a lot of time in California. When I was working with Lockheed, I used to go out there all the time to Northrop Grumman. I spent a lot of time in Manhattan Beach, El Segundo.
Oh, so you're right down in that same area.
What's that?
You were near where we're going to be this weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
So but it's been a hot minute since I've been out there. But yeah, I used to go out there quite a bit, at least a couple, once or twice a month. So
yeah. Well, it's much worse now.
Yeah, it's definitely changed.
Listen, the politics are the politics. Pretty much, I mean, the people I know.
Yeah.
This stuff that's going on with the politics, it's just unbelievable. I mean, I don't hang around with people like that. I don't even know people like that.
No.
I don't even know where do these people live. Do you know what? I mean, I don't.
No, and you know what? Everybody that I've ever met from California, north of Austin, has been. It's like Escape from LA. It's like they're just like I couldn't stand it. I had to get out, and they moved here to Texas, and they think just like we do here. It's kind of crazy. But you get down to Austin, and Austin looks a lot like San Francisco. The roads are all bad. The homeless are everywhere. You can definitely tell you got
California.
Yeah, definitely.
In 2013, Michael Snyder, I think this was Michael Snyder, it was Michael Snyder. He listed this. I remember reporting on it way back then. He said, it resurfaced this last week, is what it was, through various articles. Are you a conservative, a libertarian, a Christian, or a gun owner? Are you opposed to abortion, globalism, communism, illegal immigration, the UN, or the New World Order? Do you believe in conspiracy theories? Do you believe that we are living in the end times? Or do you ever visit alternative news websites? If you answered yes to any of these, you're a terrorist, according to the FBI's latest list. And that was 2013. So when you look at that list, and it's a huge list, it's much larger than that. You look at that, you look at the camps, we're being set up. You know, this stuff's all going somewhere. Brandon, I mentioned it to him yesterday. He said, hey, they're just laying the groundwork for what they're going to do one day. They're going to pull it out. They got everything going.
Well, we know that from the Bible, right? The saints will be persecuted. They'll be beheaded.
Yeah, we do.
So you'll probably have every one of those immigrant camps popped in with guillotines here. You know, I don't know that it'll happen before we exit, but
you can see
we'll
it.
See, they're definitely marching down that path.
They are. Okay, so back to the digital dollar and the executive order from Biden to make sure the groundwork is laid for the new U.S. currency or digital dollar. Unlike the current dollar, though central bank digital currency would not exist in physical form, meaning you wouldn't be able to go to the bank or ATM to withdraw it. It's important to understand that the digital dollar would not be similar to cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, because cryptocurrencies operate on blockchain, which is decentralized, which we know. So they're a problem because they're decentralized. Digital dollars, on the other hand, would be traceable and programmable. The Federal Reserve, or whatever entity, would have the ability to create more digital dollars whenever it sees fit. And depending on how the legislation is written, setting up the currency, the dollars could be formulated to have various rules and restrictions built into their design. For example, a digital dollar could be crafted to restrict fossil fuel use, give bonuses to people for spending at particular businesses, to enact de facto price controls by disallowing users from spending too much on particular products, or even to redistribute wealth. And then it just goes on and says there are many reasons to believe Biden's plan for digital dollar involves a design that will give the federal government control over much of society and the economy. And then the executive order states that the CBDC and other policies governing digital assets must mitigate, ready for this, climate change and pollution, and promote financial inclusion and equity. I mean, so all of the stuff that we're hearing about, financial inclusion, equity, climate change, it's all about this global system. And I believe this thing going on with Trump, that's what all of this is about. They're bringing about their global system, and that's, we got a World Economic Forum, we got the United Nations, we have the World Health Organization. Everything's world. Everything, every organization. The world this, the world that.
Yep. They're just waiting for that one guy to pop in there and they can roll their whole system out. But I'm telling you, and they can control the funds in your account. That's their whole plan. They'll have the ability to go in and zero it out if you're not part of meet the social criteria, you know?
Yep.
It's a scary, slippery slope stuff, but they're definitely pushing down that path. They have to. I mean, you really think about the amount of money that they're spending right now globally, and the trillions and trillions of dollars. You just can't keep up with it. There's nothing backing it, and they're just spending it, just printing money. Everything's going to come. It'll be like a peso. Everything. The dollar will be like a peso. You need $10 million to get, a loaf of bread and a cart of groceries. It'll be just like that. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. In the first book I wrote, came out in 2016, and I was talking about the climate laws coming. And, nobody's paying any attention to them back then. But I said, this is what the goal is. It's not they talked about equality is what I think I mentioned in the book, not equity. But it was making all nations equal. And it wasn't about bringing third world countries up to the Western world status. It was about bringing America down to the status of third world. Well, here we are 6 years later, and we can see exactly what they are doing. I have this other question for you. It's about supply chains. This article says more nightmare shortages are coming thanks to this emerging conspiracy. Interesting. And the high wire with Del Bigtree, this is on Mike Adams. Net zero is a deliberate attack on global food supply. So, I asked you about supply chains months ago. Now I've heard it's getting as bad on the East Coast.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing it here in Texas. You can see it in a lot of places. I think the area that's probably the most evident, because when people think supply chain shortages, they're thinking, oh, there's going to be a food issue, which there will be. The food stuff just isn't coming yet. Where you're seeing the shortages are in the daily things that you need to maintain systems. Like, for example, air conditioning units, right? If you have a fan or something go out or a compressor, you can't get the parts to replace it to fix it. I'm watching that with a lot of people that actually, here in the summertime in Texas, the AC units just get hammered, and it's that kind of thing. You can't get parts to fix your car. You can't get parts to do all of the repairs of the things that you normally would do, because a lot of those parts are coming out of China, and China has stopped shipping to us for the most part. And so, but that's coast to coast, and that's what you're going to start to see now. And I'm sure our listeners have experienced it. They probably have ordered stuff on Amazon and it didn't, it got delayed, and then it got canceled or it got lost. And then you get people that are, they've got, repairs they're trying to make and they can't get the parts, and they're on back order. They don't know when they're going to get them. And so people are just, driving around broken cars. It's almost third world country like. It's crazy.
I'm experiencing it. I pretty much everybody I know is at one extent or another. Now I'm going to throw something out to you. Maybe you can do some research on it. And in fact, maybe if you can get research done in time for Friday, when we have our conversation Friday, you can talk about it. So I have a friend that works for a very large dealership. I won't mention any names, auto dealer, and they own tons of dealerships all over, very large. And they're not just a salesperson. Right. This is somebody that's up in the corporation. In fact,
like
they
GM
handle
or something.
They're way up there. And they said this, and I asked if they'd be willing to go on film. They said no. They said, here's the deal. We know the vehicles are coming to the United States. We know they are. And she goes, nobody can get them. And so I've just been curious since then what is really going on. This particular person is convinced that they're like any supplies that are coming that we would need, everything is being controlled. I watched this video. I don't know how legitimate it was. It was on David Harris Jr.'s Instagram. He posted it, I think, this morning. Baby formula, and it was a lady with a video, all this baby formula, it still wrapped on the forklifts and everything, being taken off of trucks and destroyed. So you're looking, going, not only do we have a supply chain issue, but are things being deliberately, if they do get here, are they being deliberately destroyed or just done, gone, shipped out somewhere else? You can't get a hold of them.
Well, I've got friends that work on bases, and they talk about how semi trucks will back up and they'll load up every bit of women's feminine product and baby formula, fill up the semi trucks, and then they deplete everything that's on the base and take it, and they're like, it's going to the border. That's where they're taking all that. It's headed down to the border to support people coming across illegally. It's incredible.
Wow.
So sorry, I know you heard my dogs bark a minute ago, and it's actually you won't believe it. It's raining here. It's been like 70 days. I haven't seen a drop of rain, and it is coming down and lightning. So
it hasn't rained there in that long.
What's that?
It hasn't rained there in that long.
Yeah, it's been in my area.
Wow.
It's been about 70 days. It's been insane.
You guys really are becoming like California.
I know, and it hasn't been below 100.
That's messed up. I was trying to figure out, I'm reading about droughts in different parts of the country where I know rain is pretty common. I'm thinking, here I expect it. I had no idea.
It's incredible. And I've been watching the weather modification flights that I've now got tail numbers, and I track them. And I'm like, boy, these boys are up there busy. Very, very busy.
I got to ask you about that. I'm not going to ask you about it right now, but I want to have a conversation about that with you. And then if we decide we can go on YouTube, we will. If not, we'll keep it on the other channel. Hey, by the way, you like my coffee cup?
I love it. I love it. You know,
cool.
that's I don't make those anymore. That's one of a kind.
Oh,
right
you
there.
don't? Oh, this
No,
is this sweet.
all I have
cup.
now are these, which are my regular.
Oh yeah.
No, sorry, Emily.
I like that.
Yeah.
We have to start collecting them.
And I got them in green. I changed them up. They were blue, and I was trying to get some like this fire orange looking color, but that's the only ones I have now.
Very cool.
I haven't made any of the others.
Hey, we only have a few minutes left. Want to go over to some questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right, everybody. We're sending your questions. I see there's a lot of people on here, so it's going to be hard for us to read them, but we'll get to whatever we can. Make sure you put the word question in all caps, and then we're going to go for it. Also, just a reminder, the conference is this Friday and Saturday. Monkey, again, what are you going to be talking about?
I'm talking about mass surveillance in Revelation 13. So, yeah.
I can't
wait.
It'll be
cool.
It's going to be DARPA stuff and all kinds of things. So, and again, with the conference, you can register for the live stream on the Hope for Our Times app. By the way, this is probably on the Hope for Our Times app right now. Hey, Matthew, is it on the app?
Yes, it is.
Sweet. So it's on the app and it's on YouTube, just in case. If we get shut down, it'll still be there. So that's kind of cool. And then hopefourtimes.com, you can register for the live stream there too. Okay. All right.
Hey, where do you get your app? Out of curiosity, you go over to that just App Store, drop it down, and
just go to the App Store, and it looks like. What's it look like?
Download it.
Hey Matthew, why don't you see if you can pull up a picture while we're talking, and then when you get it ready, let us know, and we'll pull up a picture of the app. Yeah, just go to the Apple Store. It's also available on Google/Droid, so it's all there. How are we supposed to fight against the FBI as citizens? Says Mechanic 350.
You can't. That's just like the Gestapo, man. Only thing, hey, listen, they're going to change the word whistleblower. It's going to become informants. Watch for it. It's going to happen. I'm telling you, from here on out, you're going to hear people. You'll start seeing references to informants. It's the same thing that happened with the Gestapo, man. It's incredible.
It is. You know, what's interesting is, and I don't think a lot of people know this, Hitler did not have a very large percentage of the people that were part of his political party, but he was able to, through things you're talking about, through the intimidation and everything else, he was able to completely take control of Germany and then start to destroy pretty much anybody he wanted to. He got the brown shirts and everything else there.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And this is, I'm telling you, we are repeating history. It's not a good situation. No. For sure, not a good situation.
Not. Okay, question. Jeremy Mitchell, if the day of the Lord starts the tribulation, and if the four horsemen ride before the day of the Lord, doesn't the four horsemen ride before the tribulation? So
that's a you question.
What?
That's a you question.
Yeah. So I think it depends. Listen, there's two different schools of thought. Actually, there's several different schools of thought, Jeremy. I'll just give you the two main ones. One of them is the tribulation starts at the sixth seal, and the other view is that the tribulation starts at the beginning of the first seal, which is the first horseman of the apocalypse. The four horsemen being the white horse, red horse, black horse, and pale horse. And so that's it in a nutshell. So, but the thing that kicks off the tribulation is not the seals, it's not the trumpet judgments, it's not the first seal, it's not the sixth seal. What begins the tribulation period is the confirmation of the covenant with Antichrist from Daniel chapter 9. That's the beginning of the 70th week of Daniel. That's the beginning of the final 7 years on God's calendar. And the tribulation also is that time when the Lord is waking up the nation of Israel and the Jewish people again. So it's what begins the tribulation period is the covenant with Antichrist, not the judgments themselves. So, another question.
Sir.
Yes. You got it? Okay, so if somebody goes to Apple, you'll see that at the top, you see Hope for Our Times, and you see that logo on there on the left, and that is the logo to look for whether you be on Apple or a Droid. You're going to see it on both, and I think it might even have my name on one of them. I'm not sure. I can't find my name on anything, which is probably good, but there you go. Okay. Thank you, sir. Let's go back. Oh man, I just missed it. Do you see any questions on there, Monkey? Uh-oh, I lost Monkey's sound.
Sorry, the dogs are barking and the lightning was cracking. Sorry about that. Somebody said, "Am I safe to go to DC this weekend?" Yeah, live your life. Don't sweat it.
Yeah, you know what? I'd be going everywhere I possibly can. I have this guy who's just all over me because going to Israel. Hey, you're going to Israel.
Yes, I am with you, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, with me, I can't. This is going to be an exciting tour. By the way, it sold out completely. Nice. Yeah, it did. But we have other tours, Lord willing, coming up in 2023. If anybody wants to go on them, they can.
Oh, it's awesome.
But the one coming up with Monkey, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait.
But yeah, travel. I mean, if you can and you don't have to get the boop boop. You know what? Listen, Monkey, you know this, in the heat of everything that was going on, I didn't stop traveling. I didn't have to.
Yeah.
And I never, listen to everybody, I never got the shot. And neither did one person that traveled with me. And there. Yeah, I mean, and
yeah.
There's all this fear mongering out there, and no, you can't stop living. Stop living. Okay.
No, you can't.
What can we do as I already read that. That's very similar to the last one. Okay, let me see. Another question. When is red state succession? I think they mean secession.
Maybe Texas is actually talking about seceding. I think it's on the ballot this year. So I guarantee, I'll be honest with you, after this last election cycle, I don't know that I was really inspired to go out and do it again. But if Texas is on there for seceding, I'm definitely going to go pull the lever on that one. I'd love to see us break away from the union.
You know, okay, let me just say something. If you guys did that would probably get me to move to the seceded state.
Yeah.
It would. I mean, I hear in California, same things happening with parts of California. But who knows? Yeah, I don't see a real serious movement happening here.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's see. Glorified bodies. At what age will we appear? Children, adult, elders. That is from 5 Crowns. I don't know. I don't think we're going to appear as children. A lot of commentators will say, well, we'll probably appear to be in our mid-30s. But we really don't know. I mean, the reason people say mid-30s is because that's when Jesus would have been crucified in his glorified body. I believe about 33 years of age. So people say that they look at the prime that you are. I don't know how that works. You know, I think might be kind of weird in heaven if everybody looked like the same age and then nobody has gray hair or everybody's got the same. I don't know. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm excited to find out, but that's a good question. I pray I don't go in at this age, man. I look back at my 20s coming out of the military and, in great shape.
I will say this.
I look back now and I'm like, will my ear hair grow and glow? Is this going to be like white, wisdom coming out of my ears? Or
I hope. I have a theory. It's not. I don't believe so. I think what's going to happen is I think we're going to have a lot of similarities to what we have. A different, probably middle-aged or whatever. It could be around 30, but we're going to pretty much look the same. I don't think everybody's going to necessarily be skinny or whatever. I think there's going to be different shapes and sizes, but everybody's going to be healthy. There's not going to be a health factor involved if you're a big person or a small person. It's just not going to exist in heaven. I have a friend that is 7 feet tall. He's a giant of a man, and I wonder he might be 7 feet tall in heaven and a big guy. I don't know, but I do know health is not going to be an issue. There's not going to be doctors' offices, hospitals, funeral homes. None of that is going to be there, and we're going to be able to eat, and we're going to be able to eat incredible food. I can't. I think there may even be donuts in heaven, and they're not going to make you fat. So I'm pretty happy about that.
I'm down right there.
And there won't be diabetes, so you can have all the donuts you want.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because I mean, we know that sin is what causes the illness and sickness, right?
it does. Yeah, and
And
so
we'll be without sin.
it's gonna be pretty good. I can't wait. Okay, let's see. Question: does the church have a bartering system that we, the church, can use? None that I know of. If I was interested in a bartering system, I would find friends. They may be in your church, your own church. They may be neighbors, but I tell you this much: you better trust the people that you are bartering with, because, from what I understand with this whole Trump thing, it was somebody that was at Mar-a-Lago that actually invited the FBI to come in. Said, "Hey, go over here and look there."
Really?
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, I have friends that were on his staff that were pretty good level staffers, and I can tell you that what they shared with me after he was out of office was that everybody around him, they basically rode the clock out. He gave them all orders to go to certain circuits for fighting stuff, and he gave them all marching orders, and every one of them basically walked out of the room and said, "Not doing anything. I'm just going to ride the clock out." And they did. Rode it out till he had no other choice but to leave office. So, yeah, it's just like Judas, right there with Jesus, man. Whole time, of course, Jesus knew who he was, right? But Trump is he's got to be really careful if he gets in, and that's a big if he gets in 2024, about who he puts around him, because these people are snakes in the grass. I mean, really.
Oh yeah, it's just and people that I've just never quite been associated with. Some of the stuff you've done, which not going to get into right here because we can't. Do you think the Biden currency will be globally enacted?
You know what? Let me throw this out there. I don't think it will. I think the day of the dollar, and I think the United States is a thing of the past. I don't think we're going to be a dominant force in any capacity in the world. I think they've got other plans. They're moving around without us. I mean, you look at, he comes out and makes a statement that he's going to be the leader of the new world order, right? The liberal world order, I think is what he put it. And everybody's like, come on, give me a break, dude. You're not even going to get a nomination for a second election. They'll probably pull the trigger on him. And I don't mean that from a weapon standpoint. I'm just saying it's a figure of speech. But somebody will come in there and basically get the hatchet man and go, "You're done, you're out." And they'll just move, they'll 25th Amendment him. But I don't think the U.S. is going to be any on any level a powerhouse relative to currency, to anything, war footing, whatever. We're going to lose. We're going to fall from grace pretty quickly here, I think.
Yep, I think we are in a collapse right now. Yeah. And I know, I have a lot of my friends. They're very disappointed when they hear me say that, but I really do believe that's where we're at. America is not this strong power in the Bible in the last days, and was speculated for years. What will it be? Will it be the rapture? Will it be a great war? Will it be economic catastrophe? Well, now I believe we are living it and we are experiencing it. We can tell exactly what is going on. Also, I look at all of this, and the entire Biden administration has totally gone against Israel. Totally gone against Israel. Yeah. And God says, "You do that, I'll judge that nation." So,
Amen.
I look at this and go, well, here we are, and they just won't let the foot off the gas when it comes to Israel. We're against you.
No doubt about it. I mean, go look at everything that Trump did, and you'll know when he was over the target, because the new administration has actually come in and reversed everything that he did. The recognition of Jerusalem as a capital, the Abraham Accord, the two-state solution, that they're driving, not recognizing Israel and their independence from away, as a single state. They have done the border wall, anything and everything, all the executive orders that they've gone in and basically overwritten or erased or taken away. That's because he was over the target. You don't do that unless you're really a big threat. That's why I don't think they'll allow him to get back into office. I think they'll do anything and everything, including assassination, nuclear bomb, whatever it takes. They'll do it because they got nothing. They got nothing to lose at this point, and well, actually everything to lose and nothing to gain by him coming back in. So
yeah. Hey, if they were willing to have the world go through the last 2.5 years of the stuff they did, knowing there's been certain things that have transpired to people in the last 2.5 years, what makes us think that they're not going to just try whatever false flag or whatever is necessary in order to keep their plan from being thwarted? They're not going to let up on it. And this thing, biblically, it gets faster and faster and faster. It doesn't.
It does.
Start.
And you can feel it.
Yeah.
It's accelerating. Yeah,
it's
100%.
accelerating. So, I know this is disappointing for a lot of people. They're thinking we're going to come out of this. There's going to be a revival. We're going to have 10 years of joy. Then we're going to get raptured. I don't think it's going to happen that way. So
I don't either. No, I don't either.
Thank you.
No indication of that.
Thank you for joining me. I can't wait until, I'll see you tomorrow. But Friday and Saturday at the conference, listen, friends, join us. If you can, we'd love to have you join us online. And it's going to be absolutely over the top.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be exciting, and I appreciate you having me there. This is fantastic. I love it.
I can't wait to see you. Thank you, everybody. Go to hopeforourtimes.com for info or download the app for info. And until next time, maybe we'll be doing a lot more Wednesdays like this. I don't know. We just may. I just hate taking up everybody's time.
Yeah.
All right.
It's good.
Bye, everybody.